Hello everyone and welcome to this video tutorial. Today we are in Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm using version 2023, but really doesn't matter what version you're using, you still should be able to get the value out of this video. So the purpose of this video is to help you get started with Adobe Premiere Pro, show you basically the ins and outs of how to navigate the software, how to get started, how to begin your first project, how to export, all of the different tools and everything in between. If you're looking for a more detailed tutorial on something specific, I recommend that you watch this video first and then go and find that specific video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Adobe Premiere Pro is a video editing and production type software. It allows you to import video clips and files and create your own projects, mix and match them together, and then it allows you to add different effects, video and audio alike, and it allows you to do a number of things. So we're going to go ahead here and open up Adobe Premiere Pro, and we're going to begin our project. So what you're going to want to do is open up Premiere Pro and then go to File, New, and then Project. And then go ahead and give your project a name. So we'll go ahead and give this a name of tutorial. And then the project location is just where it's going to be stored. And then once you're good to go, you can see there is some sample media and some stock footage here from Premiere Pro or Adobe. We don't want to do any of that. We just want to click the Create button here at the very bottom where it says Create New Project. Now, you're going to see something down here below. This is going to be your timeline. Let's talk about the user interface, or what you're going to be looking at as you're working. As with anything in Adobe, you're able to move and adjust the way that your workspace looks. So if we go up here and go to Window and then go to Workspaces, you're going to see a bunch of different predetermined or template workspaces. So if you're working with effects, you might want this one here, and it changes the way that your workspace looks. Maybe you want something that's like editing right here. Then it's going to change the way that your workspace looks, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and also show you really quickly that we can click and hold with these little three lines here. So we have these tabs here within the software where we can click and hold, and we can move these anywhere. So let's say we want this to go over a little bit. We can bring it over here and add it over to this side if that's something that we want to do, okay? So get the workspace looking the way that you want it to look, and then once you have it looking the way that you want it to look, it's very easy to work with. This is all about comfort. It's all about what feels good to you. So just understand that you can move and adjust anything and everything within the software, okay? So once we've created our new project, you're not going to see anything here. You're not going to see anything in the bin over here. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to import files into Premiere Pro to start working with them. So how do we import files into the software? That way we can start editing and working with our video. The easiest way to do this is go to File, and then you're going to see something here that says Import. So go to File, Import, and then you're going to see this come available to you here, where you are going to see your File Explorer come available to you. So what you want to do is just go and navigate to your video files where you know that they are. So I'm going to go here and find another video of mine, and I'm just going to click it and double click it, or just click on import to bring that video in. Now, I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see here exactly what I'm talking about. So here's the video that we just imported, and if we hover and scrub our mouse over it left to right, it'll show us a preview of that video. You're going to see right here where it says contains linked audio, which means that this video comes with audio already added. So if we want to go ahead and add this to our video project, we can double click it first to look at the source up here. So again, the source is going to be right here, and we can see kind of everything about that video as far as from start to finish. But this is good if you only want bits and pieces of the video into your timeline. So we haven't drug anything into our timeline just yet. We've just imported the video, double-clicked it to see what it looks like here in our source. If we go here, we can zoom in and we can zoom out. And another really cool thing is right here, you're going to see something that says drag video only, drag audio only. If I click and hold this and drag video only, it's only going to drag the video. So you can see here in my timeline, I only have a video channel. Nothing is right here under audio. That's because I went up here under source, I went ahead and just did drag video only, and I dragged that over into my timeline. Now, if you want to undo something in Premiere Pro, it's as simple as going to Command or Control Z. Just like anything else, Command on Mac, Control on Windows, and then the Z key on your keyboard, okay? So for the purposes of this video, we are just going to go ahead and click and hold and drag the entire video over to our timeline. So as you can see here, I'm dragging both the video and the audio right here. So click and hold, drag that to our timeline, and as you can see, it just kind of populates here into our timeline. Now, I'm going to make this bigger again just for the purposes of this video, and I'm kind of OCD, so I do want this to match up. All right, so right here we have our timeline. And then right here, we have what I call our viewer or project viewer. Basically, it's where you're going to preview what you see here below. Now, I'm going to mute the audio because I don't want you guys to hearing both me now and the audio here by just going to the audio channel, and you'll see a M here, and we can just mute the track by selecting and highlighting the M. And now when we play the video back, it's going to play the video back, but you're not going to see or hear, any audio. All right, so we have two different tracks here. We have the video and the audio. Now, the first thing that I like to do, you don't have to do this, is I like to right-click on that if I do both video and audio, and I like to go where it says right here, unlink. If I go to unlink, it separates the audio from the video. This is great if you are trying to maybe dub something over and you need to cut something out of the video, but you want the voiceover to start before or after. Again, it's just a good thing to do, all right? We can also make these channels bigger by just clicking the bars here at the bottom and the top of them to basically increase and decrease the size. That way you can look at them a little easier, more visible. And again, a lot of this is comfort, as I said earlier. Now, if you want to zoom in and out of the timeline, you're going to see that little progress bar here that we can click and hold and drag with our mouse. If we click and hold that towards the ends there, you'll see a hand tool come available to you. If you drag that inward, it will increase or zoom in. If you drag that outward, it will then decrease that. So if we go all the way out, you can see the full 20-minute video clip, okay? All right, so let's talk about tools for a minute before we do anything else. Over here, you're going to see your toolbar here. You're going to see the selection tool, which is just your normal mouse cursor, which allows you to click and hold on the timeline and drag a audio or video or whatever you have here, clip around and maneuver, it in regards to the timeline, okay? Then we're going to have our track select forward tool. I'm not going to go over all of these tools because if you're a beginner or just trying to learn the basics, none of this really matters. The next one I'm going to cover is our razor tool, okay? If you click the razor tool, you'll see as we hover over a track here in the timeline, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little better. If we hover over a track here in the timeline, we can just basically click anywhere on that different track. And now if we grab our selection tool, those have been, split right where we cut them with the razor tool. Now, I have that hotkey set to C or keyboard shortcut. If you want to change that, go to Premiere Pro up here or go to File, Edit, and then go to Keyboard Shortcuts. And then once there, you can see the different keyboard shortcuts that Premiere Pro has set for you. If you want to change one, you just hover over that said key, or you go down here to the command and go to Shortcut, and then just click into that, and then just select the key that you want to change it to, okay? Next, we're going to have our slip tool, our pen tool, our rectangle, and our hand tool. The next one right here is the hand tool. If I click the hand tool here, it allows me to basically maneuver around my project. With my workflow, what I like to do is just have the selection tool, which is V. So I have my left hand on the keyboard, and as I'm editing here, I can often just hit the H key to go to my hand tool and just move left to right on my timeline. Again, all of this is what makes you comfortable and what's easy for you to do, okay? All right, so we have our selection tool here again, and then we have something here called our text tool. If we go here, we can go into the type tool, and then if we wanted to, we can add a new layer and add text and things like that, okay? All right, so over here in our bin, the bin is where the imported files will go. So if we right-click here and go to import, which is another way you can import files, we can always go back and add more files. So if we go here and then go to another file here, I can always find another video file, and you can see in the bin, I have two separate video files. So organizing your bin is important, being able to keep track of where things are. That way you're not looking and searching, and there is a search bar up here if you're searching and you have a whole bunch of different videos. You can also view videos by file name. You can view them by basically a little image preview here. But I prefer this view here, but again, whatever works best for you. I have another bin here where you can see a bunch of different things, a bunch of different files. You can see there are tons of files within this bin. It was a wedding that I worked on recently. Again, with something like that, you may have to go and search for files and whatnot just to make it easier for yourself, okay? All right, so once we've done that, let's now talk about effects and things that we can add within the timeline here. All right, so we have our video file here on our video channel. One of the things that you can do is go to the left or right of that video clip, and you can drag left or right to decrease or increase the time. Within Premiere Pro, it has a snap feature, which means that if you are dragging something, it will snap to the left or right of another item here just to make it easier. You can always turn that off. You can go to Help and then type in Snap and then turn that off if that's something that you want to do. So that's one of the things that I did want to include and show you here. With audio, if we click on the audio track here, you're going to see if we hover over, I'm going to zoom in here and make this track even bigger. If we zoom in here, you're going to see where there's a little up and down arrow over this line on the audio track here. If we click and hold, this is where we can increase and decrease the audio for that channel, right? So if I drag it up, it'll increase the audio. If I drag this down, it will decrease the audio. Again, if it's a stereo track, which means it has a left and right, it will do this for both. If it's mono, it'll do it just for that single track, right? So get the audio exactly sounding like you want it to sound. And if you want to, you can always go in and, add fade ins and fade outs. And that's something that I recommend that you watch another video for, specifically for showing you how to do that, right? But there are ways you can go and add little in and out points and decrease and increase that if that's something that you want to do. Next, I want to talk about Essential Graphics. Now, Essential Graphics, as you can see, I have the Essential Graphics tab to the right over here. If you don't have that, you can go to Window and then go to Essential Graphics, which is one of the panels here. Essential Graphics are things that come pre-made or kind of templates within Adobe Premiere Pro. I have a video showing you how to import your own Essential Graphics. So if we go here, you'll see I have a few that I've imported, like this one here is actually an end screen for a YouTube video. So you can see here I have the YouTube end screen that I've kind of imported here, and I've made it an essential graphic. But basically, this allows you to apply these little graphics here, whether they be video clips, images, text, titles, things like that, to go and edit and change and move around. Anything within Adobe Premiere Pro, we can always select. So I can always select into and change those. So if it's an essential graphic, you can see here, it's editable, which means I can select it, click it, and go and I can change the text. So I can make the text a little different on that graphic and do a number of things for that essential graphic here, okay? So again, essential graphics, you can browse them, you can edit them, you can always remove anything from your timeline by just selecting it and clicking the backspace or delete key on your keyboard. It just makes it very easy to maneuver around. Something I failed to mention is when you are playing it back here on the timeline, you can see it's going to show you the time as far as where we are in the video. Also going to show you that up here in the preview window. And then if we pause that for a minute, it'll also show you the full duration in and out. So in will be 0 and then out will be this final time here that you see, just so you know the full time of that video. Now I want to talk briefly about effects. So let's say we want to add an effect on a different video clip. I'm going to go ahead and clip this video here, and we'll select this video bit right here, which is my end screen. So if you want to add an effect, what you can do is first go to Window, make sure you have the effects panel available to you. Again, if you don't see something, you just go to Window and then go to the one that you don't see, and then you find that panel. So here's the effects panel over here. We're going to make this just a little bigger. So the preset effects here, you have audio effects right here, you have audio transitions, and then video effects and transitions as well. If you hit the little arrow here, it'll bring out all the different effects and transitions that are built into Premiere Pro. As with anything in Premiere Pro, like the essential graphics, you can bring in other ones from paid and free software. Again, I recommend you watch a full tutorial on that as well, if that's something you want to do, but I would play around with the ones that we have here. So if we go here and go to, say, blur and sharpen, I can add a Gaussian blur to my video. I can click and hold the effect. Okay, click and hold and drag that over onto my video. Now, when you do that, anything that you drag over to the video here, it will add an effect. If we zoom in here, you're going to see something now that says FX, which means that there is an effect on that specific video. This will be much easier if I actually bring in a specific video file here. So if we bring in this video file here, and then we add in an effect. So now we're going to go back to our effects panel here. Maybe what you want to do is you want to do a little brightness and contrast correction, right? So you click and hold, and you just drag that on top of the video file that you are working on here in the timeline. It'll let you know by having the FX right there on top of it. With every effect that we've added here onto a clip, right? So any effect here like this one here, you can select that clip, and there's going to be another panel called Effect Controls. That's going to allow you to adjust all of the different elements or parameters of that effect. So whatever it may be, if it's a zoom, if it's a Gaussian blur, whatever it may be, you will be able to adjust that here, okay? So I have that clip selected, and you can see there's a Gaussian blur and there is a sharpen effect here. So I can go and I can manipulate everything within that effect within the Effect Controls panel. Not only that, you can see under the FX, the Motion tab here, this is where you will scale and resize images and clips. So if I go to Scale here, I can click the 100% and drag that to the right to make it bigger. I can click and hold drag to the left to make that smaller. So for, say, this clip here, I can go up here and go to the scale, and I can make it bigger by dragging the scale over to the right until it is as big as I want it to go, okay? So everything as far as the manipulation of the effect and the clip will be done here in the Effects Control. That's where you handle resizing, it's where you handle the rotational stuff, and it's where you go and you manipulate all the parameters of the effects that you may have added to a clip within Premiere Pro. Just a couple of things here where we can right-click on a clip just to show you a couple of things. If you need to increase or decrease the speed of a clip, you can right-click and go to Speed or Duration, and then you can increase or decrease the speed here by just typing in a number, and that'll all be percent-wise, and then it'll tell you the new duration after the speed up or the slowdown of said clip. But if you do right-click on a clip, I recommend you go through here and just take a look at these different things. It'll let you know a bunch of different things that you can do. You can add a frame hold or a freeze frame is what I like to call it. You can do a bunch of different things here by right-clicking on it. You can rename it, a bunch of different things. Now, let's say you're done with your project and you're ready to save and export your video file, okay? First thing you do is save your file. Go to File, Save As. This will save it as a .proj, which is a Premiere Pro project file name. Give your project a name, so we'll go ahead and give it a name as tutorial, and then you'll see the folder that it's going to be saved in. Okay, so go ahead and save that now. And then once you've done that, you want to go to File, Export, Media. Now when you do this, it's going to bring up this panel here. Up at the top, you're going to see your file name, and then you can change the format as to what file format you want your video to be in, and then there are a bunch of different sub-options, okay? I wouldn't get into any of these unless you really know what you're doing. I'd leave everything the same here. Select the media file, select everything here, and then what you want to do is you want to make sure your video file is going to be the size that you need it, right here where it says source. Basically, this is showing you mine's going to be in 4K. Here's the output that it's going to be in, all right? If you want to change all of these things, you can go in like the video right here, go to Video, and if you want to, you can go and you can unselect these right here and change the different sizes that you want. Once you have everything over here the way that you want it, you have named it, you've decided where you want to save it by clicking on the location here and selecting the folder on your computer, you go to the blue export button here. It'll then begin encoding and exporting the video, and you're good to go. Depending on how big the video is, it'll give you an estimated time as to when this will be completed, and then you'll have your saved project plus your video file. That's it. If you have any further questions, because I'm sure you will, please put those in the comment section down below. If this video helped you out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.